Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pits of Motor Chaos. This is your host, Dave. I got online special guest, Dave Buchanan. How you doing, Dave?
Good. How are you, Dave?
I'm good. So, first question, Dave. How many years you been drag racing, and how did it all begin for you?
I particularly have been drag racing myself for about 30 years now.
Now, how'd you get into it?
My dad was into it. We would go and watch the funny cars and the dragsters at 30 and at the Grove. And he was actually a friend of Chris Carmasinas' brother-in-law. So I remember riding to the track with them and hanging out and watching Chris and those guys running the fuel cars. And it's probably why I have an affinity. I always wanted to get a funny car or an altered or something like that, and it's still in the possibility working that way.
So do you still keep in touch with Chris the Greek to this day?
Not really. I mean, over the years, we're talking 45 years or better. Everybody's drifted apart, and people pass away, stuff like that. And then, as I got older into high school, I started working. Guys that I hung around with were into cars and racing, doing some street racing. So I saved up my money, and then the year after I graduated high school, I bought the Chevelle that I have right now back in '87, and then turned it from a daily driver into a weekend warrior.
So what do you got under the hood of that Chevelle?
Right now there's a 598 cubic inch motor. It's pump gas motor. It's a low compression, 9.8 to 1. I do have a single fogger on it with the capability of putting a couple plates on it if I wanted to. But I think without some cam changing and other modifications, I'm using about as much nitrous as I can get through it efficiently, anyway.
So what's the fastest you've gone in that car?
The fastest I've been in this car is 858 to 154, and that's with I run a 9x28 slick on it. With mufflers, and the car's all steel other than the hood. So it's about 3550 with me in it. So it's not a lightweight.
Now you said your dad used to take you to Great Lakes Dragway and US 30. That's the way I started out getting into drag racing. My same thing. My dad used to take me to US 30 drag strip and Great Lakes Dragway when I was like 4 or 5. Now I'm 50, so.
Yeah. right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I think that's how we all got started. Our parents got us addicted to this thing, and now we can't get out.
Listen to WLS radio Sunday. Okay.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that was back then when 30 was here. I from the Tinley Park, Orland Park area. It's half hour away, 20 minutes if no traffic. We're spoiled.
Yeah, Jan Gabriel was the one that made those commercials.
Right.
Those were classics, though.
Oh, yeah, it's good times. A lot of good memories from all that stuff.
Where the great ones run.
Right.
Yeah, and of course, Great Lakes Dragway with Broadway Bob.
Yes. He's probably the best promoter that I've ever seen.
Yep. There'll never be another Broadway Bob.
Definitely not. Between him and Mr. Ringling, I don't know if there was any more any better promoters.
So now, do you got a lot of events planned for this year?
We're gonna do. We started out when I started out doing this stuff when I was younger. When I first bought the car and put it together, we did a lot of street racing, and then that progressed into track racing with the Outlaw Super Stocks. They started up a stock class, so we did some racing with them guys. Then that progressed into the True Street group back in '09. The car was sitting for a while when my youngest daughter was born. So the original plan was just to pull the motor out and freshen it up and put it back in. But, life got in the way, and it sat for almost 10 years. And then the True Street group came about, and I watched them, and it kind of got me going to put the car back together. So then I bought the motor I have now, put it in 08. And then went on from there. Now we're doing some, starting to get into this no prep stuff, kind of getting back to the street type races. Last year with Hot Rods House of Power, Jerry Raub out of New Lenox, he put a group together. We went down and raced JJ in Memphis last July.
JJ the boss.
Yeah, that session got cut short due to rain. So we were supposed to finish taping that episode sometime this spring. I don't know if it'll happen or not. JJ's doing a lot of his arm drop stuff now, so we'll see. But I'm going to do 41 is got some stuff planned for no prep, no time grudge racing type stuff. So I'm looking at doing some of that. I think I want to put right now, like I said, I run the 9x28 slicks. I think I might mini tub the car just so I can put a bigger tire on it and get a little more tire on the ground for this track or for the no prep street type stuff.
So you like the street racing stuff, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of it has a little bit of excitement to it. I'm not I tried bracket racing. I can't. I don't know. I don't say that I don't like it, but it's kind of boring. And it's kind of boring for the spectators if they don't understand how all that works. At least if you're doing the heads up stuff, like with the True Street group, that was a small tire group that ran index. And it was both cars leave at the same time, and then it's more relatable type stuff. But yeah, I like the competition. I can't go and make time runs because it's boring. Unless you're going to learn, try different things, and you're learning something about the car. That's one thing. But if you're going just to make passes, it's not for me. I gotta go race somebody.
So did you ever think about trying to run with like the Chicagoland Super Stocks or the Classic American Muscle Association or any of those groups?
Yeah, I've thought about it. My car it doesn't quite fit with those guys because they have to do big wheel stands and stuff for a bigger show. My car isn't set up for that. But yeah, I have thought about it, and we do have my partner and I call him a crew chief, my buddy Kurt. He's we bought a body and we're gonna put together a big tire car. So we'll see where we go with that.
Or the Pro E85 guys.
Right. Something like that.
I know those guys run at 41.
Yeah, because that's my goal too. And like I said, I'm thinking of doing a nostalgia funny car or something like that. Something that I can go to the track and book in for a show. You make your runs. You're not thrashing under the car all week.
Now you're gonna do alcohol or nitro if you do a funny car?
Definitely would be it'll start out as an alcohol deal, and then I know between me and Kurt, we definitely want to. We've already talked about dabbling in the nitromethane.
Yeah, well, as long as you got the money for nitromethane, you could do it.
Yeah, and that's where the show part comes in, where if you can book in for a match race or something where you're going to have guaranteed money, Even if you just break even, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I knew I have some contacts that run nostalgia cars, and they run nitro, and and they've already expressed to me that they can hook me up with a tune-up, and parts will be safe. You know, you won't beat up the bearings and be blowing parts up and stuff like that. And the biggest maintenance is the clutch, which that's my speed. I don't have money to be breaking parts every weekend.
Yeah.
It gets to be real expensive.
So now, when you got into drag racing back in the day, who was inspirational to you?
I would say, back when I was younger, like Raymond Beadle, Chris Karmasinis, even John Force back then. He was a showman, but he was on the shoestring. And like I say, right now, John Force is probably the guy that I looked up to. He started from nothing and has built a racing empire, if you will. Kind of like the American dream.
Now, how about a guy like Arnie the Farmer Beswick?
Yeah, I never really got into Arnie stuff, and I don't remember even like seeing him at any of the shows. We were more into the funny car. I guess it was maybe after he peaked, like because he was more like an AFX era car and that type.
Yeah, he's been doing it for years.
Right.
And
early on, Pro Mod guys, when I was older and was traveling, we were doing some Super Chevy stuff, and the Pro Mod guys were there. We got to know some of them guys and hang out and look up to those guys.
How about Dick Messino? Shake, rattle, and run.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very familiar with the car and then the area. I don't have an association with those guys. I know we have people in the same circles, but I don't necessarily, I don't know them guys very well. I know who they are.
How about the Chicago Wise guys?
Yeah, the Chicago Wise, that's a good group. Actually, Pete Demos lives not too far from me, and his daughter and my wife are friends, and like through the baseball associations and stuff, we get to know each other and those guys. And there's some other guys that we have mutual friends with.
Yeah, 25 years this year for Pete. Man.
Yeah, they're doing very well. They've been able to keep that going.
Yep.
Yeah, there's been some groups, have come and gone in those 25 years.
Yeah, because they were just at the World of Wheels over the weekend. There was 9 Chicago Wise guys over there at the World of Wheels. So. Okay. Then Pete was celebrating his 25th year of the Wise guys, and next to him was Marcel and Randy celebrating 25 years owning Great Lakes Dragway.
Oh, really? Okay, nice. I was out of town this weekend. I was not able to go. It would have been fun. I know a lot of people went. I was seeing their posts on Facebook, and I was kind of jealous.
Yeah. So when's the last time you've been up to the Grove?
Last time I've been up to the Grove was early last year, early in the season. I went up there a couple of times to spectate, kind of scouting like some of this no prep deal. I went up there for the Anarchy race just to kind of watch and see what I might be getting into.
Yeah, I've never been to any of those like King of the Streets and so I don't know. All I see is a video of hundreds of people on the starting line.
Yeah, well, that bothers me too, and some of the tracks are cracking down on that a little bit. Yeah, that is a little nerve-wracking or distraction for me. I don't like having all them people around, and they are, and I understand it's part of it. But it can be dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know.
Right. You exactly. I mean, I saw a video last month of, I think it was in Australia, that a guy had a heart attack and he had his foot pinned to the floor, and the car ended up turning around and going running back towards the starting line. Wasn't good.
So now, what was your experience like the first time ever going down a drag strip with a race car?
It was interesting. Originally when my Chevelle was put together, I had a 427 in it with a flat tappet cam. It was running low 11s at that time on the motor, and things happened quick. And then we put a nitrous plate on there, and we dropped a second, and the second doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're in the car and it's kind of like the Millennium Falcon going into light speed. Everything starts going really quick. The first few times you're in there, you're just hanging on and keeping the car straight. Then after you get to doing it for a while, you get used to the speed, and you're able to check the gauges and do other things as you're going. But it is it can be nerve wracking. It's exciting though. I guess that's the whole reason why we strap into these things and do it, for the thrill.
So now, Dave, when you take the Chevelle out, do you have any other crew members that go out with you?
My wife comes with me now, and I have two daughters, and if they're available, they'll come out and hang out, help with the tires, and my dad and his brother, my uncle, they'll come out sometimes. Like I said, my buddy Kurt is usually with me. When we went to Memphis, my a friend from way back, Tony, he moved to Vegas. He flew in and he rode down there with me to help me out for that event there. You need a guy for putting water down and another guy to back you up. It's always a struggle finding people to help you out. I've been a one-man band for a long time, so everything is kind of set up for a minimal crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's
go
part
ahead.
of the reason why I haven't done a nostalgia car is because, like, if you do a funny car, you have to have 3 or 4 people with you at all times. That's a bit of a problem.
So now, do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions?
Not really. I do like to get in the car in the staging lanes, and I like to be by myself and quiet and kind of visualize. I visualize things as they go. I've got so many passes in this car. Everything is automatic pretty much. All the controls are the same. The gauges are in the same places. The switches. I can pretty much tell what the car is doing by feel. Like, being on a small tire with this kind of power, we're estimating, judging by the weight of the car and the speed that we're running, we're making over 1,200 horsepower. And on a 9-inch tire, it'll move around on you. People will come up to me in the pits after a pass where I'm going from the wall to the center lane, making a pass, and they're like, "Well, how do you stay in it for that long?" And I can tell in the car when it's getting to be the point where you got to lift. And honestly, in the car, it doesn't feel as bad as it looks outside the car. Because I've been pretty sideways before, and I've had guys that I know standing at the start line and come back and they're like, "Dude, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, it didn't feel like it was that out of shape, so I stayed in it." I got yelled at one time at we were racing with the True Street group at in Iowa, Cedar Rapids.
Yeah.
And it was a buy run, and it was during qualifying. So we had it tuned up, and the car went out. It got sideways, and it got to the point where I had to lift, but it was drifting to the center lane. So rather than trying to correct it to keep it in my lane, knowing that I was by myself, I just let it. I let the car go into the other lane and coasted down the rest of the track. And then the one of the owners come riding to my pit area and started reading me the riot act about that. And I explained to him I knew what I was doing. I knew I was by myself. If there was somebody in the other lane, I wouldn't have done it. But rather than overcorrect and have the car potentially slide into the wall, what it was worse.
Yeah. So,
but it's interesting.
So now you don't have any sponsors, right?
No, I do have a friend with a machine shop. He helps me out with machine work. But other than that, everything is off of my dime. I do a lot of business with the A-Team Speed Shop in Tinley. He'll help me out with discounts maybe, but other than that, it's all full price.
Yeah.
But I'm open to that. I put out feelers for potential marketing sponsors or partners. Being that now that this no prep stuff is going on, and there's a potential for television exposure, I can put signage on the cars and get them on TV for a little bit of advertisement that way.
Right.
So I'm working on it. I just haven't been able to land a sponsor. That and the car's not that pretty. Everybody wants a pretty car.
So now, Dave, what goes in getting that car prepped for a weekend of drag racing?
Well, like I said, it's pretty low maintenance. I'm a one-man deal for the most part. Pre-race, like a weekend coming up, during the week, it's mostly changing fluids, changing the oil, making sure the trans fluid is looking good. I'll put a new set of plugs in, making sure I got full bottles for the weekend. Check the tires, make sure there's enough on there where if I do need to buy a set of tires, I have enough lead time to get them. Making sure all the suspension points are all good, none of the bolts are loose, or any the anti-roll bar links aren't bent or anything. So it's just a lot of checking and stuff like that.
So now, what are your favorite tracks to run on?
My favorite track locally is, I'd have to say, Union Grove. It's a hometown track. They're not, the food prices aren't outrageous. A family can go there, and for $100, you can have a good time.
Yeah.
Some of the other tracks is a little expensive. I like, if you want to go fast and you're looking to make good times, if you're trying to, make improvements to the car, it's hard to beat 66. So it's a nice facility, and it's usually well prepped. So if you're going to make changes and you're looking to make fast times, that's where you go. The drawback to that is you don't get a lot of runs. It's a lot of waiting.
Yeah, have you ever been to Cordova?
Yes, Cordova is another good track. We were there last year. A group of us got to run in they put together a King of the Hot Dog Stand race during the Super Chevy event. I got to participate in that. That was fun. Hopefully we can do something like that again. I know Dominic Blasco he's well known for his track prep, and that track was killer. You can lose your shoes. You were walking around on that track. And they're actually doing the River Redemption series that I'm looking at, doing some index racing there if this no prep stuff doesn't work out.
Yeah,
or even in between.
that's the
Um,
that's the thing that Georgina runs in the River Redemption.
yes, Georgina Buckley. Yeah, I'm friends with her. She's great. She's a great person.
Yeah, and then like the Jerry the Greek Constados. What?
Right,
Yeah,
right. Yeah, everybody in that group, they're all great people. They're nice to hang out with. The drag racing community in general is a family oriented group.
yeah, it should be, but there's certain people like she was saying in the interview last night.
Yeah, there's always the black sheep of the family. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets along all the time.
Yep.
And you have to look at it too. When we go to the track and some of us standing together, I'm like, you look at all these guys, and there's a lot of them that feel that the rules don't apply to them. There's a lot of egos.
Yep. So have you ever run at Byron?
Yes, I've run at Byron. Way back when you had the choice of the Grove or Byron or Cordova. Those were about the only tracks around. Done a lot of racing up there, and I like to travel. I've gone to. I've been as far south as Edinburgh, Texas, which I think is at the time it was an NHRA track. It was the furthest southern track in the United States. I've been to Tulsa, Oklahoma City. I've been out east to New Jersey. I went to one of Petey Smallblack's King of the Grudge races back in 2009, I think it was. I went down to Ringgold, Georgia for they were doing a toy drive race for Christmas towards the end of November. So yeah, it's kind of a hobby of mine is going around to different tracks. I'll see different tracks on YouTube, like these small outlaw tracks, and I'll make notes and say, hey, I have a list of tracks I'd like to go check out. Lynn Ryan owns Dyersburg Raceway now down in Dyersburg, Tennessee. That weekend we were down there for the Memphis deal with JJ. Before we came back, I spent the night Saturday night in Dyersburg, and then raced in a foot brake race that she had going on Sunday.
Now, have you ever?
I'd like to do a Western. One of my goals is to do a Western swing, maybe like a two-lane blacktop type thing. Go out that way and race. Stop at different tracks on the way out to California.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Go to Famosa over there, Bakersfield.
Right. Well, a friend of ours, the Vershaves, have moved out to Oceanside, California, which is near Verona. I think Verona is their closest track. And I have a friend in Vegas. So my goal is to get, hopefully it'll be during the fall, but I don't want to catch any snowstorms, but to stop in Vegas, even stop in Texas and New Mexico, and even a couple other places on the way out to California. Especially the older tracks, like I said, Bakersfield. I'm gonna get pictures, just to do it to some of this a nostalgic trip.
Yeah. Now, have you ever been to WIR?
No, I have not.
I've never been to that track yet either.
I have a long list of tracks that I want to go to. And I've got about 10 more years before I can retire. And I think once I retire, I can start making some of these trips.
Now, if you ever do get a funny car, would you ever run like the funny car chaos events?
I would have to look at it and see, where we would fit in. I would, I know, like, I'm familiar with the Lawsons and some of their guys, and there's a couple of funny car groups in the Midwest that would be a potential group to run with.
Well, yeah, I know you say you'd start alcohol. I know they got that the Great Lakes Nostalgia funny car circuit over there.
Yes, yeah, and I'm particular to Texas. I'm eventually gonna move down there eventually, and there's an outlaw nitro altered class group that runs out of, I think they're out of Dallas. That would be something I would be really interested in. I'm kind of partial to the altered, which is just a basic. It's a funny car chassis with a small body on it.
Yeah, you could do have the funny car and the altered body and just keep switching over for different races.
Yes, yeah. Yes, and there are a few of the nostalgia funny car guys that do that.
Yeah, like Joey Haas, Joe's son. Yeah.
Right.
Yep, he's got the Nimrod, the altered, and then the funny car.
Right, and then the Chi-Town Hustler guys have a couple bodies too.
Oh yeah, Troy Martin. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's tons of potential out there. And if I win the lottery, I'll be able to do a bunch of it.
Now, you've never been out to the Central Illinois Dragway, have you? Out there towards...
Not yet. Yeah. It is on my list. Actually, no, you know what? I have been to Central as a spectator. I never brought my car there.
I heard it's like you travel through a lot of fields and stuff. You feel like you're not getting anywhere till you get to then you finally find that truck, huh?
Right. Well, I mean, there's times we sit on the trailer, and I ask, I'm like, are we doing anything? I mean, I know we're running pretty good for what we got, but the way everybody else is running, with these turbo cars, and everybody's running real fast, and we're kind of in the middle of the pack. So I feel if I can't be competitive, I'm not going to waste my time. My funds and my time are precious to me. So I go scout out these places and see if I can be competitive.
So now with the no prep stuff, you do all 8th mile racing, right?
Yeah, a lot of these things are 8th mile. They cut them back because the speeds of the cars are pretty fast. I'm partial to quarter mile myself. I like the mile an hour. I was kind of like when the COTS guys cut the senior class from quarter to 8th, and I was a little bent out of shape about that. And I bit my tongue. I don't like to get on the internet and bash things and stuff like that. But I'm in the school of thought where if you don't feel safe running your car in a quarter, then build a safer car. There's plenty of cars out there that'll go 200 miles an hour on a 10-inch tire and still be safe.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's me. But you make enemies when you do that. So I try not to make waves. But it does. When I've run 8th mile races, and you do go through less fuel. You go through less nitrous. It's a little easier on parts, but it's still not the same. I still like that top end charge.
Yeah, right there. When you hit the 8th mile, that's when you're gonna pick up that speed on the quarter mile.
Yeah, that's where that's when the race is just getting fun. You hear the 8th mile guys talk about the big end, the big end. I'm like, you guys are only racing half track. There is no big end.
Yeah.
But it's fun either way. I understand that because of the speeds the cars are getting to, that insurance comes into play. I understand it.
Well, at least I get to watch my Chicago Wives guys in quarter mile racing.
Right. And then if we do move into the funny cars and the ultras, we'll be able to go back to quarter mile.
Yeah, those Chicago Wise guys, Pro Mods, they just get faster and faster and faster, man.
Oh, yeah. It seems like it's every year everybody picks up. It's kind of crazy.
Got the need for speed, Dave.
Right. Well, back in the 60s, they said they figured if a car went 200 miles an hour, it'd come apart. These guys are, they got funny cars running 300 miles an hour and 1,000 feet. They're almost at 300 miles an hour in the 8th mile. They're 290.
Yeah.
It's technology is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, and if you ever did run one of those funny car chaos events, that they do 8th mile.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it seems to be the wave of the future. Honestly, too, it does speed up the program, too. You get more cars down the track in an hour than you would run in a quarter.
Now, if you go to Vegas, what are you going to go to, that 4-wide track?
Yeah, it'll be at the Strip. They do like a Midnight Madness type stuff, but there's not a lot of muscle cars out there, I guess, from what I understand. It seems to be a lot of imports.
Now, you would think with like four-wide racing, the races will probably end early, huh? Like the big show cars, the NHRA. Don't the shows end earlier than a like regular 2-track, instead of four?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you're running 4 cars at once, you're only running half the rounds.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan particularly of the 4. I'm not a fan of the 4-wide, especially watching on TV. But I would like to go and see 4 nitro cars go down the track at the same time.
Yeah.
The feeling's gotta be pretty good. Two cars going down is a sensory overload. I can imagine 4.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, and I know back in the 60s, Byron used to be a 4-wide track. I've seen pictures where they were running 4 funny cars and 2 funny cars and 2 fuel cars at the same time.
All right, now, Dave, have you reached any milestones in your drag racing career?
I don't know that I'm done, but reaching milestones. But
well, what ones have you reached?
Well, I did win. I won a championship in the True Street Series in the 10-20 index class. That was that's a highlight. I don't know. Way back when we were running on the street, my car was a known car. People used to come down specifically to race my car. We'll see. I'd like to, not that I could do it in this car, but my goal is I want to go 200 miles an hour in a quarter. I know I can't do it in this car. It's just too heavy, and
right.
I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
You need a light car.
You need a Pro Mod.
So, yeah, I'm not opposed to that either. A tube car with some big tires, and I'm not a fan of hood scoops. I'd have to run maybe a turbo car so I could have a flatter hood.
Yeah. Now, have you won any trophies or plaques or anything like that throughout your career?
For the True Street deal, yeah, they had a jacket, and I got a trophy for that. I was never did anything, like I didn't do enough bracket racing to get into a series with that. No, I was more personal best, I guess, or triumphs. More or less just winning rounds or races is more of a trophy as opposed to a series championship.
So now, besides drag racing, you have any other hobbies, Dave?
do. We have at my house in particular. We have it's like Noah's Ark here. We have dogs, cats, fish. I have some snakes. I have boa constrictors.
You got a zoo, man.
Yeah, we have turtles and tortoises. We have a couple of lizards. I got everything but birds. I don't do birds. Yeah, but hobby-wise, we're going to start breeding snakes here in the next year.
No, yeah,
boa constrictors.
That's some income right there.
Yeah, well, hopefully it'll break even to pay for itself. So, some of these snakes are not cheap.
Right. So what's your favorite food to eat, Dave?
My favorite food, man, it's a toss-up. I like tacos. I'm a pastor taco enthusiast. Also do, I'm a griller. I have a wood-burning grill that I like to do steaks on, and I've done a couple turkeys at Thanksgiving, kind of like a smoker type barbecue.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a hobby too. I'm an amateur barbecue guy.
Okay. Now, what's your favorite beverage to drink?
I am a cherry Pepsi person.
Cherry Pepsi guy.
Yeah, that and cream soda. I like cream soda, but more daily is cherry Pepsi.
What's your favorite music to listen to?
I am a hard rock, heavy metal type. That's my go-to.
No, you're like me.
Yeah, we end up. Me and my brother went to the Kiss concert a couple weeks ago when they were in town. It was a good time.
Well, now they're saying this is the last tour, but they keep saying it all the time. Oh, it's our last final tour.
Yeah, that's right. Well, they suckered us in. It's working for them. But we've been doing. Me and my wife is into it too. We've been doing like Rock on the Range and festivals, rock festivals.
Now, did you used to go to Ozfest when they used to do Ozfest?
No, I'm not a big Ozzy guy. Not a real big Ozzy guy. I do, like In This Moment, they're Shine Down, Godsmack, Metallica, those type bands.
Right. So now, what's been your most embarrassing moment on the track?
Well, I would say, and luckily my most embarrassing moment won't probably make it on TV, but it was down in Memphis, and it was 99 degrees out and 95% humidity, and we were fighting some problems, and I killed the car in the burnout. I shifted too fast, installed the car. JJ was gracious enough to let us get our wits about us, and they ran another pair of cars. Then we did it. Tried to get the race off again, which we did, but I forgot to turn the nitrous on for that race, so that was embarrassing. But hopefully, being that it got rained out, all that footage hopefully will make it up in the cutting room floor where I won't have to explain myself to everybody with that. But that was probably my most embarrassing moment.
All right, now if people wanna find out where you're gonna be at that are listening to this interview, where's the best way for them to find out where you're gonna be at with your car?
The best place would be, my car has a Facebook page. It's Old Buzzard Chevelle. I post up most of the events that we're doing on there. But Facebook is the primary outlet for social media.
Cool. Well, Dave, I want to thank you very much for taking time to interview tonight.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. We'll do another one in the future.